Go Ask Alice is a show intended for adult audiences, because adults want to learn too. Sometimes we cover sensitive material, so please take care of yourselves, and listener discretion is advised. Now on to the show.
Hello internet friends, and welcome back to another episode of Go Ask Alice, the show where we jump down random internet rabbit holes and bring you the most wonderful factoids from our adventures in Wiki Wonderland. I'm Sarah, and I slept through an earthquake this morning.
And I'm Lindsay, and I've been chewing crunchy gum all week. Yeah, no one's pleased.
Crunchy flavored gum?
No, like I got sand in my gum packet and I can't get it all out.
Okay. It's better than what I thought it was going to be.
No. This is the show where we jump down random internet rabbit holes. We start on the same page every week on Wikipedia, and we navigate using hyperlinks within the article to a completely different article and learn something that we have never learned before. We come back together every week to share with each other and all of you. This week, we started on Mantis Shrimp.
Oh, Mantis Shrimp, which for anyone who doesn't know, these are the bad little asses who can literally punch, it's called cavitation bubbles. So they punch their arms so quick, they create a vacuum under the ocean. Little tiny vacuums. They're amazing.
It's like straight out of an anime.
And this is our wonderful patron Robin's pick this week.
Yeah, so Robin actually, in addition to being the person we always love, has chosen this starting page and has also chosen our question of the week. So this is a dedicated Robin episode.
Woo, woo, woo.
Robin's question, Sarah.
Ooh, it's a good one. So Robin's question this week, and if you'd like to answer, please come to our Twitter or our Instagram and give your answers post-haste. We would love to know them. But her question was, if you ran into a genie, what would your third wish be? So not your first or your second. Fuck them. What's your third wish? Lindsay?
I always wanted to be like Eliza Thornberry and talk to animals. And I feel like that would be a really fun one. I wish I could talk to animals.
That'd be a good one. I wish I could too.
What about you?
I could be cliche and say more wishes. But I think I don't think that's fair. I feel like that's how billionaires think. And I'm not one of them. So I think I'd do something like good for the world. I would get rid of all the excess greenhouse gases in the atmosphere.
Oh, that's a good one. Unfortunately, all of our Twitter submissions were not so wholesome. And Robin asked such a thought-provoking question that we got like a ton of responses, and okay. I can't name all of them, so I'm gonna give you some of my favorite ones. Okay. Particularly the ones that made me laugh out loud. So Michelle Gunchizer, our Twitch affiliate, immediately said for a $100 Taco Bell gift card, which was very modest. I don't know
why not $1,000.
Or just endless Taco Bell. Yeah, just really selling. Michelle would sell her third wish for $100. Genie. Unlimited power. Our user Tombus said, I would wish that Drew was an Argonian. Turn Drew into an Argonian. If you remember the last episode or several episodes ago, the lusty Argonian maid.
Yes.
And
that was excellent.
Probably the worst response I got. I'm just going to read it as a quote.
Okay.
User White Tip or Dad Revenue says, quote, that their lamp looked like a sex toy so that they get to come out and grant wishes more often. That's altruism, people. You may not like it, but that's the only altruistic answer.
It's kind of reciprocal altruism. If other people get more wishes, I mean,
and they get to come outside more.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Okay, that's very nice.
Dad Revenue, you easily win most creative answer that I received on twitter.com.
That's amazing.
So, you may have noticed that Drew is not here today. It is just me and Sarah in this ultra spooky episode. And it's going to be ultra spooky because the topic that I have prepared is maybe I manifested Drew not being here because this is such a Sarah topic that I want the full Sarah attention. It is going to be so good.
I'm very, very excited. I feel very guilty now, though, because my topic is not spooky in the slightest, but it is funny. So,
okay, we can do funny.
Okay, and it's very American.
But
So
Sarah,
American.
like, okay, Sarah, like, skeletons, jack-o'-lanterns, like, what do these things have in common? They're all smiling.
They
Silly,
are all smiling.
laugh. This is why spooky things are the happiest things. I mean, it's all smiles the whole holiday.
They are. So, where did you end up from Mantis Shrimp?
From Mantis Shrimp, I somehow got to the Tower of Silence.
Ooh. I feel like this is a torture device.
Could be, but it's not, but could be.
Okay.
Like, sell that to Hollywood because that would kind of be amazing. Where did you go?
I ended up on noodling.
Wait, what? Like your dog?
No, for anyone who doesn't know, we call it Miss Lucy the Noodle. And we say that she's noodling when she's rolling around. No, noodling as in the highly competitive sport fishing.
Oh my god.
Have you heard of it before?
No.
Oh, it's going to blow your bloody mind. It's incredible. Okay.
Okay. I don't even know where to start. Like, which
Should
one should
we
we do
start?
first?
Let's start spooky and end on noodling because you're going to get a good laugh.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, I'll bring everyone down and then you end on a high note.
Yeah. It's like a little
Okay.
emotional roller coaster we got going on.
If you would like your own personal emotional roller coaster, hop on over to our Patreon. It is super easy to subscribe. We also really hate ads in general, so we put our ad-free episodes available at the lowest tier possible that Patreon would let us. So if you want to subscribe just to ad-free episodes, it's like a cool $3 a month. You wouldn't even notice if that was gone, I'm promising you, because I lose it all the time. You could have your own episode for, I think, our middle tier like Robin has done. But best of all, we have designed our own stickers and they have just come in. We have sent them out. Some of them are holographic. Don't want to brag. Hop on over to Twitter or Discord if you want to get a sneak peek. Just come hang out with us. Also, come hang out with us because Drew's not here. We're really lonely right now. Okay. Tower of Silence. Yeah, now I'm talking about how lonely we are. It's Tower of Silence. Anyway, here's Wonderwall.
Can I guess what it is?
Please.
I'm just thinking like the Tower of London. That there was a tower that they would stick people in if they were too noisy.
Oh, okay.
Am I really off?
You're kind of right on the money. The only issue is that the people in the Tower of Silence are already dead.
Ooh! Spooky. Okay, I love it.
Getting right into it, a Tower of Silence, also called a Dakma, is a place or a palace of excarnation.
Oh my goodness, this is like divination.
No, actually,
feels like it. No. Lindsay's saying no.
It sounds like such a mystical word.
It does.
Excarnation is another word for a sky burial. Does that sound familiar?
No, but I like it. The idea. This is really cool because we've talked a lot about burials in general. Spooky kooky. Okay, yeah. How do you get buried in the sky?
Yeah, right? Like, we've talked about corpse trains. We've talked about, like, God knows what else. It's like green eggs and ham. Like, you can have it on a train. You can have it in the sky. They are actually super fucking ancient. So some of the first sky burials have been recorded in Herodotus, who is like an ancient Greek philosopher, 5th century BCE. So super thousands of years ago. But the actual towers themselves, Towers of Silence, are first recorded in written tomes, I guess, in the 9th century CE. So still the 800s. So still super ancient. And they're a attribute, or I guess like part of the tradition of Zoroastrianism, which is a religion that I was not familiar with. Have you ever heard of Zoroastrianism?
No. Is it like a breed of Abrahamic religions, or is it completely different?
I think it's extremely similar, but older.
Okay. Ooh, okay.
Yeah, I think like it's very popular in Iran, for example, in the Middle East. And it also, similar to the Abrahamic religions, it hits really hard the dualistic good and evil. And it follows the teachings of Zoroaster. And it's funny because I think I was like destined to learn about this because I kept falling on Zoroastrian topics. Like pretty much every episode I end up like consciously trying to move away from it, but like everything fascinating has to do with this religion. But I'm still not really an expert. It's kind of intimidating how much stuff there is. It's an intimidating topic to cover. So I'm not even going to try. But I did notice that Zoroaster also has another interpretation of his name that's Zarathustra. And I don't know if that sounds familiar, but Nietzsche wrote a book that was called Thus Spake Zarathustra. So it was like a nod to him. It's not exactly about Zoroaster, but it's at least that's how it was familiar to me, like in Western culture. But anyway, this is like a whole tangent to say Zoroastrianism is an extremely old faith, and this tradition is also extremely old. But what it is a column, basically like a tower that you would see on a palace. And the idea is that you would take your dead to the top of this cylinder and align them in like a ring or a pattern. And it was like the men are all on the outside, women are all in the middle, and unfortunately children do pass away, so children are in the center circle. And then in the very, very, very center, there is a well or a pit where all the bones would go. So you would leave the bodies exposed. Sarah's face right now is so funny. I wish you could see this. I'm sorry. Confused and horror and excited all at once.
I just got where you're... So they would let scavengers, like vultures and the birds of prey, do their work?
Exactly pieced it together. Exactly. Wow. So a vulture or a bird of prey, they can do the job in a matter of minutes. It is actually the most efficient way to get rid of a body.
Wow, these serial killers that keep getting caught for dumping bodies in rivers, they need to learn a thing or two.
Yeah, just get
or
a couple
not.
vultures.
They need to just not exist.
So yeah, this
that makes
kind
sense though, because if you go out to like the desert, you very, very rarely see anything dead that is not already skeletal.
Yes, I mean it's between the dogs and the birds, or like wild dogs. That's kind of the idea, and that's why these were kind of raised platforms, was so it wasn't just that like you wouldn't have, detritus strewn about. It was, a little bit more organized and contained, and like the birds can come get them. And so what would happen is they would expose these bodies to the elements, and then as the sun would bleach the bones, they would... Very, very few people were allowed actually in these towers, because the idea was, in especially ancient society, it becomes kind of a public health hazard. Yeah. You don't want your dead...
We've talked about plagues and the spreading from dead bodies before.
Yeah. So it became like a ritualistic religious taboo, but I believe it sprang up from like a very practical place of do not go near dead bodies, don't let dead bodies near the water, kind of a thing. So very few people were actually allowed in these towers, and they would be kind of the keepers of these bodies. And so they would wait, very few, like pallbearers, I guess is how we would call them in English, would wait and put the bones in the middle, put lime on them, like the chemical.
Yeah.
And the rainwater would filter the broken down bits down through coal and sand, and eventually the bits would wash out to sea. So it was just like a very natural disposal of bodies.
That's amazing. And it's giving back to the world. Like you're letting the matter that was a person just redistribute through the world, which is nice.
And in that same way, it kind of begs the question, well, why not just get it done quickly with cremation, for example.
Mm.
And to me, the most interesting aspect of this religion was that earth, water, and fire were considered sacred, and they couldn't taint them with bodies. So it had to be elevated off the ground to preserve the earth. I guess eventually it washes out to the water, but okay. It can't be near the water and can't pollute the fire. So they worshipped fire in specific fire temples, for example.
Right.
So the idea of cremation was sacrilegious to them. So the only thing left was air. That's the only element left. Give it to air.
Wow. And how tall would these towers be?
I didn't see a direct measurement, but from pictures, it kind of seemed like a 2-story building or higher. I don't think they would be massive, but they were definitely like 2 stories off the ground. Some of the lower ones I saw.
That's huge still.
They are pretty big. They're actually beautiful. That's why I stopped on the article. Was like the wiki article, at least in English, is kind of a cutaway view or a top-down view, and it's just this very neat circle with like a couple more smaller pillars, I guess, that are for like staircases and stuff off of them. It's just a very neat design, and it's got such an appealing name. Like a Tower of Silence just sounds so beautiful and haunting all at once. It just really captured my imagination. Yeah. So the idea of using a Tower of Silence or the practice of excarnation kind of strikes us as unusual, or I don't want to say spooky, but it's kind of almost a taboo in our culture as well to think of things this way. And at first I was wondering if that was just our Western bend, but it actually turns out that even in Iran, this has largely fallen out of fashion. But I thought it was interesting why. So I wrote down the top 3 reasons Towers of Silence are not in fashion anymore.
Ooh, okay.
Number 1. Well, this one's a boring one. They were put in remote areas. Practical.
Well, it's hard to get your bodies out there, right?
Well,
Is it
actually,
a transport issue?
The opposite became true, which is that the cities got big. So the cities got larger and larger, and now all of a sudden you've got Towers of Silence in your city.
In your
looking
city.
out.
Oh.
You don't want to look out your apartment window and there's just, lines of people just rotting in the sun. Not a good idea. So
no.
That was one reason.
Your property value would drop.
Number 2, this one is for you, Sarah. The 1800s started a medical school. Well, a medical school was started in Iran in the 1800s. And in the practice of Islam, so different religion, it was considered very sacrilegious, in fact, considered mutilation to dissect a body.
Yes. Yeah, because in Islam, you need to be buried within X amount of hours. Autopsies are a no-no unless, ordered by a court. And
really?
the body
I
has
didn't
to
know
be
that.
Clean. Yeah.
I
think similar in some other religions as well, is that you want to avoid disrupting the body at all costs if you can.
I think Christianity parts of very strict Christianity may be like that too, that everything needs to be exactly intact so that when Jesus makes everyone rise from the dead, there's no problems whatsoever. Everyone's smooth sailing.
So many problems. Smooth sail.
Smooth sailing. When Jesus brings me back to life, I want to make sure I am in tip-top shape.
Tip-top. Those Egyptians with their brains removed, they're not going to have a good time.
They did not think ahead. They did not think ahead about that, about Jesus rising them from the dead.
Well, no. Yeah, which gets in the way of modern health and safety city codes, where I think most places in the Western world you have to be embalmed, or if you're not embalmed, you have to be buried in a very specific type of coffin to prevent the leakage.
Yeah, the seeping into the watershed.
Yeah.
Yes,
major
you're
health
completely
concerns.
Right. Parts of the United States in the South have this issue because when there are major hurricanes, like in Louisiana, it floods the
old
floods all the
graveyards.
cemeteries. Exactly. So yeah, you've got graves literally rising up from the earth because of the flood water. or, breaking open. It's gruesome.
Yeah. I like this idea though. I think it's very, very nice. Like giving back to the world, which is nice, but also like a lot less kind of waste
I do.
for the humans to deal with as well.
It keeps
and you
a
don't
very
take up
neat
land.
closed system. Yes. Yeah. Also, kind of the vertical structure keeps things nice and neat and out of the way. And I agree. It's a very nice way to keep things in the cycle, in this kind of circle of life. Because I also do think that the embalming is very bad for the environment, even though it's a public health issue. You're still putting chemicals, like toxic chemicals into the earth.
Yeah, it's not good.
No. But in the 1800s, this medical school needed to be a medical school. So they stole a lot of the bodies.
Oh, these are my favorite types of stories of how traditional medical schools got their cadavers. Because all of a sudden, so Western societies are taking over with the trained medical professionals. We've no longer got folk healers, which we've chatted about in another episode. But to train people, you have to have enough bodies for people to train on. And so the history of this is fascinating, especially in England. Some shady shit happened for the med schools to get their bodies. And grave robbing was like common back in the day.
Exactly.
Like people would grave rob, you would get money from it. Some like funeral homes would turn a blind eye. Yeah.
It was a lucrative business, and I had only heard of it just like you are, in this story. Like I had only heard of what you're describing in England, and I had not even thought of like Iran, for example, or parts of the Middle East, and what grave robbing might look like in these different societies. And sure, if you've got a bunch of bodies, towers of bodies out in the open, great place to steal some cadavers. So that became a big issue for people who just wanted to lay, especially because these areas were so sacred that people, not just anyone, was allowed in. So, kind of like our cemeteries today, you obviously wouldn't want people digging around in them. So that was reason number 2. Reason number 3 was, again, a very practical one, that it was actually in 1970, extremely recently, Iran outlawed ritual exposure.
Ooh. How come?
I don't know if it was just that it had become a bit out of fashion, or if it was becoming, again, the growing cities part of the problem. I don't know exactly why, but I do know that there were different factions of different religions kind of all arguing with each other at this time. And the ones who came out on top was from Tehran. I don't remember what religion it was, but they had said that cemeteries could reach a compromise where if you had a Zoroastrian person who wanted to be buried, well, you can't pollute the earth because the earth is sacred. So they would actually have extremely concrete, thick lined graves, top and bottom. And so in that way, at least the body's not touching the earth directly, but the concrete. And that was kind of the agreement that everybody came to.
Wow. Okay. So at least it's still kind of respecting the original sentiment of the idea.
Yes. Yeah, like the article had said that it kind of fell out of fashion with more and more, I guess, like modern practitioners. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know really what fell off there. I don't know why it became less popular. I don't know if other religions were louder.
And I feel like modern day, we're a bit sensitive. Like if we saw a falcon or a vulture flying off with somebody's body part,
yeah,
it would traumatize a lot of people.
I think I would be very shaken.
I would not be okay. Yeah.
I freak out when I see a dead bird on the sidewalk, like,
Yeah, me too. Yeah, compared to back hundreds, thousands of years ago where seeing a dead body was more common and less culturally shocking, I guess.
That's true. Yeah, we are very shielded in that way. We're very sheltered from death in our society.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's all I have on Towers of Silence. Short and sweet and spooky.
I love it. I love it so much. I think that's fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to visit one.
Really, really cool.
There are loads that are still standing. I would love to see one day. Yeah.
Are they like heritage listed so you can go and have a little look around, but
I did
keep it
see
preserved?
I don't know how many are open to the public. I saw kind of mixed reports that some of them are not, but other ones will let in small tours. So I don't know how many of them are open to tourism, but I don't know that they're allowed to operate anymore. So I don't know if it's kind of just like a sacred ground that they try to keep kind of private or what.
Yeah.
I think everywhere is just a little bit different, but it'll be all over our Twitter. If you guys want to search the hashtag for this episode number, there are so many different ones depending on what parts of the Middle East you're in. There's different styles, different heights, like we were talking about. So it's cool to look at. Yeah.
I also like the idea of the old-fashioned fire temples. I think it would be amazing to see any remnants of them left over. Like that, I feel like that's a religion I'm not, and for anyone who has not gathered, I'm not religious. But if you were going to take me to a fire temple, maybe I could be swayed.
There's something in that fire temple for everyone.
Okay, so are you ready to go to noodling?
Yeah, let's just totally switch gears. Let's.
Okay, so we're gonna jump from talking about lovely death rituals to now the ritual of catching a fish with your body.
All right.
So you haven't heard of noodling before, have you, Lindsay?
Literally not at all.
Okay. So this might fascinate you as well, but as an Australian, where this does not happen in Australia, I thought this was fascinating. And again, I had to click on it because it's the verb that we use to describe our dog, Miss Noodle. So for anyone like me and Lindsay who were a bit unsure of what the hell noodling is, here is a very Drew-worthy definition of the topic.
Okay, we got to.
Okay. Noodling is fishing for catfish using one's bare hands or body. Short and sweet definition. You're just going fishing with your body parts.
Do you like hug it really hard?
No.
Oh my god.
So catfish like to live in like little, not like caves, but little dig outs along the embankments of rivers or creeks. And so they have their own little dig out little hole, and you basically stick your arm in there. You wait for it to bite your arm. It sucks on, and then you pull it out, and you have a fish attached to your arm.
No. Oh, no.
Yeah.
No. You would not pay me enough to do that. No.
Some people try to do it with their legs and the bottom half of their body and get their friends to pull them back up. It's dangerous. Like, you should not do that. And if you
do
are...
they have teeth?
Yeah. I don't think they're very sharp teeth, but they do have teeth.
No.
No, it's fine. It does... I don't think it does much damage because they're little catfishy. But yeah, so it's super popular in the south of the United States. And it was actually first used by Native Americans, and the first documentation of it was from the British. I've written invaders, or you can say settlers, whatever you would like. But yeah, basically when the British started to colonize the United States, there's a lot of written records about what they witnessed the indigenous people of the land doing, and that's caring for the land, using the land. And one of these ways was fishing for catfish with their hands, and it's super productive because you're able to figure out if a catfish is in the hole and then pretty much get it immediately. And catfish are really big as well, so you're getting a really good feed from just a little bit of effort.
Oh my god, no.
I don't think anyone's lost a hand. People have died though trying because it can be dangerous.
Okay.
But yeah, so what actually annoyed me a little bit was that there was no mention. So of course I do off-roading. We all do every week on our topics. And when I was doing some more reading, Wikipedia did not mention the Native Americans at all. and attributed to this. So your girl did some work and put in the right citations and added it to the Wikipedia page.
Love that, Sarah.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm trying to unwhitewash the internet one step at a time.
Beautiful. Thank you for your contribution.
So, noodling once would have, and especially back in the day, would have just been used to catch a fish because you wanted to eat it, right? You were hungry. This is a way to get food. Well, now it is classified as an extreme fishing event.
Oh, God. Okay. Okay.
There are enormous, like massive noodling tournaments, they're called. Not even just a competition, it's a tournament around the United States, and one of the most famous is something called the Okie Noodling Tournament. Have you ever heard of this?
No, but I would love to have a trophy that says Okie Noodle.
Okie Noodle. Well, they are really serious about their tournament.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So it's held in Oklahoma, and like any sport, there has to be a few rules in place, right?
Okay.
So I've got the list of rules for you.
Thank you.
Okay. Here we are. They're all on their website in bold capital letters as well, just to set the scene of what I found. So Oklahoma fish only, in Oklahoma waters only. So you could only have caught the fish in Oklahoma, and it had to be from a waterway originating in Oklahoma, I guess. You can't go to Louisiana and catch a fish and bring it across the borders, you know. Not good.
So basically that fish has to have their ID on them, otherwise you're fucked. Like, tell that
Needs
fish.
a driver's license.
Yeah. Okay.
So the reason they say this is because they have, so the tournament begins where from 12 noon, people can come and check in the fish that they've caught over the past weekend. So they can bring, and the fish has to be alive. So they had to have caught it in very, very recent, so within a day or two, they bring it in, get it weighed. It all has to be living as well. So noodlers can only pick and check in one fish. So they can catch multiple, but they can only enter one fish into the tournament.
Got you. Otherwise it would be chaos, I'm sure.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So the next rule, I was like, what the fuck does this mean? It just says no stringer competition. Big fish only. !
What does that mean?
Like, what the hell does that mean? So I Googled it. I watched a 10-minute video to try to figure out what the hell that meant. And apparently stringing is a thing that you can do to a fish. So I watched a step-by-step guide. And it's when you grab a piece of rope with a giant metal spike on the end, and while your hand is in the fish, you thread it through its gills, and you kind of do a special tie. So you're putting it on a line, so then you can have more control of the fish.
Okay.
Yeah. So
but that ruins the spirit. Okay. That's ruins not the same as
hands only.
Yes. Like no tools, and then like you said, it has to like suck on your arm, and it's like you're not letting it do that if you're roping it. Okay.
Yeah,
this
exactly.
Really reminds me of Thimble Tickle when they tied the giant squid to the tree. I thought that was going to be where this rule goes, is like, do not tie your catfish to the tree. It needs to be said.
Tie it to a tree. Yeah, but yeah, no
That's
tying
using tools.
of catfish. Mm-hmm. So shout out to a company called Adrenaline Rush Noodling, who I learnt this from a YouTube video that they were in. And I was like, oh, this guy seems like a really nice guy. I wonder how much it would be to actually go noodling. And so the day rates for a noodle adventure is about $300 for the first guest, or you can do a $500 day for 2 people. So
a steal.
A steal for a day of noodling.
Go ask Alice Retreat.
Yeah.
Oklahoma.
And I was like, I feel like this is going to be very, like, not safe, very hillbilly. That's the vibes I was getting, but I was wrong. This company is run by 2 men who sound really, really sweet. So both of them have a background and bachelor's in education. And so their whole company is built around educating people on how to, like, be sustainable with fishing, how to noodle safely, all this stuff. And
I love that.
That was very sweet. Yeah.
We love you, noodlers. That's so sweet.
Yeah. So, back to the rules. All fish must be caught within 36 hours of the deadline.
Okay.
All fish must be alive. Now, there's a reason why the fish have to be alive. And it's to do with people cheating and catching a fish and freezing it. Or, So, this comes down to the final rule. In massive, bold, bigger bold than the other rules, everyone who enters this tournament is subject to a polygraph test at the game warden's inspection.
I just dropped my microphone. Oh my god.
How American is that?
Wait,
You
does the fish have to be
agree
live because... Wait, is the fish also taking the polygraph test? Because that does not explain why the fish has to be alive.
No. So,
do you know this man? Did you meet this man within 36 hours?
Did he put a string on you? The poor fish just getting absolutely annihilated with interrogation. No, but apparently they legit strap the people up to a lie detector if they think they're cheating. And so cheating can come in the form of you caught the fish outside Oklahoma, you caught the fish, weeks ago and you've been storing it in your bathtub or something like that. Or you've caught the fish, this is why you have to have a living fish, because back in the ye old days, people would just catch a giant ass fish, freeze it, and wait for the tournament to turn it in. Yeah. And so I was like, man, for them to have like a polygraph test, they must have had like massive scandals.
Or like fights. Like I bet they needed something conclusive to break up fights about it.
Yeah. Which is ironic because polygraphs are not conclusive or reliable. Why they're not allowed in evidence in most states. But
don't tell them
I
that.
was like, you don't tell them that.
That is the only way they are keeping peace at the noodling. Do not. You would fuck up noodling forever if you told them that.
I would. So, shh, we won't tell them that. So I was like, okay, I want to try find some headlines of some of like the most scandalous noodle fest things. That have
bless
happened.
you. Fuck yes. Okay.
Now, I'm going to disappoint you. I actually couldn't find any crazy stories on the internet about the Noodle Fest itself, but I did find one that I wanted to end on because I think it's really funny.
Fuck yes. I was going to go down this rabbit hole as soon as we hung up. I was going to go look myself. So thank you for doing this. Okay.
So it seems the rules have, displayed they have like not encouraged cheating, so there haven't been any like major breaking stories in the last decade or so, but I did find this headline. So the headline reads, Oklahoma man says Bigfoot made him kill his fishing partner, police say.
What?
Yeah, are you ready?
Okay.
I'm gonna read it to you.
Okay.
A day out fishing A day out fishing for catfish on the South Canadian River in Pontotoc County, Oklahoma, has turned into a murder investigation after a man claims that Bigfoot forced him to kill his friend.
Bigfoot had him at gunpoint? Like, what does that mean?
Larry, 53, stands charged with first-degree murder after allegedly attempting to first family member and later police after allegedly admitting to first a family member and then later to police of killing his noodling fishing partner Jimmy, who Sanders claimed wanted him dead by the hand of the mythological monster Bigfoot. So he thinks Bigfoot made him do it. So noodling is a popular fishing technique used in the southern United States, and this is the article describing one sticks a hand down the fish's mouth. The local sheriff told media that Sanders, the man who killed his fishing partner, appeared to be under the influence of something when he told the police he had struck, strangled, and then drowned his fishing partner.
Oh my God.
So his statement says that this man had summoned Bigfoot to come and kill him. The man who's dead. So the statement from the man who's alive says, yeah, my friend summoned Bigfoot and asked it to kill him. And so that's why obviously he had to kill this man, Jimmy.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I could not, sat on a mountaintop for 10,000 years. I could not invent this plot. I would not have invented noodling, for one. I would never have come up with that. So amazing that exists in this world, that this universe that we live in. Amazing. 2, would never have thought that you could summon Bigfoot on purpose. I feel like that kind of defeats the purpose of Bigfoot being a cryptid, is if you could just summon him on purpose. Kind of goes against a lot of the properties of Bigfoot I've come to understand.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is unbelievable.
I know, this man he had a wild weekend. So this poor guy, Jimmy, though, who died, they didn't find his body for at least a day afterwards because it had washed away down some rapids.
Oh shit.
But they did find it, and they did find his body. And now they're a bit confused about how to proceed because they have a confession, so they can charge him and they should get a conviction fairly easily. But obviously the confession is a little bit loony, so there's a possibility that he could plead different ways. But yeah, and the police finished up by saying, you have to still prove all the elements of the crime and what the suspect is telling you. You have to prove that that's actually what happened, which obviously you can't because Bigfoot is not real. So
that's the point. That's the fine point on it. That's the crux.
Yeah. So that's my topic. Beware of noodling, because your fishing partner might see Bigfoot and try to kill you.
Do not mix Bigfoot and noodling.
No.
Almost always ends in death. Not a good idea. Also, probably don't take bath salts before noodling.
Yeah, definitely do not.
I feel like that's probably what happened.
Yeah. So
damn, Sarah.
That's my segment.
I love how that was so funny and still dark at the same time. You're like, let's end on a high note, and then you're like, a man was murdered.
I'm very sorry to the man who was murdered, but the choice of friends was not good.
But if you're gonna go, at least go out with the rumor that you know how to summon Bigfoot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good legacy to leave behind.
Yeah, very mysterious. That should be in the wiki article.
Yeah.
There should be additional links below, and it's ties to Bigfoot. Sarah, that was easily one of my favorite segments. I know it was short and sweet, but that was easily one of the favorite things I have learned on this show.
Oh, I'm so glad. I think yours was for me, though. I think Sky Towers or Sky Burials, the Tower of Silence, is so cool.
So peaceful, so natural.
It's really, really beautiful in a sense. I really like it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's going to be so hard when we do the rabbit hole rewind for the year because I have a lot of favorites to choose from. It's going to be really hard.
Me too.
Anyway, you guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thank you for joining us. I'm not going to bother you with all of the pitches to hang out with us because we already said it. You already know where we are. You know that our Twitter is Go Ask Alice Pod. You know that our Instagram is Go Ask Alice Podcast. We don't need to keep saying it, but go to Go Ask Alice Pod or Go Ask Alice Podcast. I think the most I want to say right now is thank you to Robin so much for existing. Thank you for supporting our show. This episode is all for you. Hopefully you like death because we've got a lot of it here. Fucking weirdo. Yeah, that's all there is to say. We love Robin.
We love Robin. Bye.
He sets the clock and walks away.